Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we are playing Griftlands, which is a game. Brilliant. I decided to start on this screen. This is a screen that opens up when you first open up the game. Basically, it's two things. One, it's early access, right? So if you're watching this in the future, then and things seem different, right? That's why it's still in development. Here it says you will fail, but keep trying, and you may be able to bend fate to your favor. Being able to speak would be good in a Let's Play, right? Nah, it's overrated. So, yeah, you will fail. So I just want to point this out. So that way, if I fail, I have an excuse. The game said that's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I get to claim that I'm a super genius. Brilliant. So, Griftland. So it's a roguelite card, like, deck builder, fighting and negotiating game. You'll see. You'll see. So, a couple of characters so far. I'm going to play as Sal Ik-Derrick, which is the first one that they have. Possibly the most fleshed out. I don't know, but this guy's quite new, so I don't know if he's as well balanced yet. And this guy doesn't exist yet, so sucks to be him. So we're going to play as Sal, and we're going to play as Hunting Kashio, which is, I guess, her campaign. But there's like a sort of a boss rush game mode as well, but I don't know if it means that they'll be adding like more game modes, which are like different campaigns, or what. I don't know their plans for all of this necessarily, but we're going to start this run anyway. You can see I already have a run with her. That's the first, like, up to the first boss, basically, I played, just to get the hang of it and figure out if I'd like the game, and turns out I do, or else I wouldn't be here. So, Hunting Kashio, you can see what deck she has, but I'm not going to look at that stuff yet because there's no context for any of it yet because we haven't actually shown the gameplay yet. So, let's start.
Last time someone made your life miserable, you kept tabs, called in favors, and stayed alert. You took them down and climbed out of the gutter they kept you in. Kashio's no different.
Fish is waiting for you. So one thing, straight off the bat, we can actually hover over certain words. It'll be the characters' names or slang or whatever, and we can find out what that is or who they are, which is just a nice touch in a game that has its own world, essentially. It's got all of its own, you know, universe that is cooked up for this game. So it's kind of nice to be able to actually, you know, learn that stuff without just having the characters just reel off exposition at you for weeks. Also, there's a bunch of bugs on the floor over there. I hadn't noticed that. Oh dear. So anyway, Fish is waiting for you, her hip cocked against the bar. Long time, Sal, but it feels like I just saw you. So another thing which I want to point out is kind of cool for a game like this that has like potentially a lot of story, a lot of chit-chat, you know, possibly introducing more characters as they develop. It's not all voiced, but they do the sort of same thing as The Sims do. They just sort of speak gibberish at each other, but it just gives it some personality. It gives the characters some personality, where a lot of games would just have them stand in silence, and it doesn't really give you an idea. You don't really get... It doesn't convey tone or anything, you know, if they just stand there in silence. So this is nice. I like it. Also, it's all sort of, you know, hand-drawn sort of comic booky aesthetic, which I love, so love that. Anyway, so long time, Sal, but it feels like I just saw you. Guess I ain't changed that much, huh? Some things don't, and knowing you, there's one thing you're after. That bounty. You do some jobs today, and I promise I'll help you out tomorrow. For now, take this to welcome you home. So this is a novel thing here. So because this isn't my first run of the game, if you play further runs with a character, because it's a roguelite, so, you know, the whole point is you fail time and time again, but you can actually get given additional stuff when you start out again. So we can increase our max health, draft 2 battle cards, huh? Or draft 2 negotiation cards. I'm going to try and negotiate more because, I mean, in most games you're always fighting people, but this one actually gives you the opportunity to essentially card battle, but to change their mind, not to stab them in their organs. So I kind of like it. So swing people to your side and you just might have a chance. Okay, do we get to pick 2? Is that the idea? Plead. You lose 1 influence for that. Oh, that doesn't seem that great. Spend 1 influence, deal an additional 4 damage. I like that. Oh, we can only get one. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. And we get to pick some more negotiation cards. Okay, cool. So you don't have a lot of contacts for this stuff yet, which I'm sad to say, but you know, it's because it's not my first run, essentially. I don't know how to delete my save games or something to have it, you know, like a runless game, if you know what I mean. So yeah, sorry. Let's go with, I don't know, this, maybe? Nope. I don't think that can only be worked if we do that. Okay. I'll grab that. Why not? We want to get to it, okay? So, ask about Bavaria. So, at a glance, you can see, as you hover over certain keywords, a largely unsettled continent on the western side of the Hessian Sea. How do I get my bearings? It's been a long time since I was last in Bavaria. So, oh yeah, it's important to mention we are in it. It's dirty and broken, like always. If debt brokering was bad when you were a kid, it's worse now. Half the population is indentured, and them's that hold contracts seldom to pay off their own. No wonder customs were so uptight on my way back. Must be a lot of fraud. That ain't the half of it. The Admiralty. If you remember, Sal, that's the Deltrian military force occupying Murder Bay. Is pushing for an official annex. They want to make everyone real Deltrian citizens with papers and everything. In Bavaria? You're joking. They say it'll stop illegal debt brokering. Now, anyone with a hand in labour contracts is real ornery. From the poor to the powerful. You can imagine the reaction. I can. I'm going to have to, because you're not going to tell me. So, ask about the annex. Yeah, this can't be a popular move. Most come here to get away from the Admiralty. So the Admiralty, you know, military force, not great. It ain't. Both the Spree, a loosely organised collection of bandit crime rings and illegal debt brokers, and the cult, the dominant religion in Bavaria, whose adherents worship Hesh, an abyssal jellyfish god, are in arms about it. The Spree, because they're criminals, and the cult, because they profit off the labour more than anybody. No need to tell me that. The cult's holding a big shindig in a few days. Their usual wheeling and dealing in the name of the divine. Word is, the Admiralty is going to use it to make their proposition mandatory citizenship. It's going to need to be a mighty good pitch to convince the cult, and I wouldn't put it past the Spree to set fire to the whole affair if they can. Fish casts a dour eye over the bar, like it's a garden on the near side of winter. Suffice to say, kid, tensions are real high. You'd be smart to keep your head down, instead of looking for trouble. How's about Fish? How you doing, Fish? So, what do I owe for this fish? A cut of my takings? Hesh, no. Hesh being the fish god, well, the jellyfish god. I left my bounty hunting days behind me. I owed your parents once. I don't like leaving debts unsettled, even to dead folks. They were decent people, Sal Fallon. Name's Sal Fallon normally, but it's Sal Ik-Derrick now because of indentured servitude, I suppose. Watch you don't end up like them. You know, when you pay off debts, the Derrick still owns your name. I'm an Ik-Derrick now, so they tell me. So, not Fallon. Ik-Derrick. Or so they tell me. Yeah, some messed up bladderwrack, though. Bladderwrack being a type of seaweed, I believe. Yeah. Doesn't let you find out what that is, because I think that's a real thing. So it doesn't feel the need to tell you. So anyway, ask about Kashio. He makes watches, I believe. You lined up work for me real fast. You some kind of mover here? Nah, I just know people and people know me. You don't need to go after Kashio, kid. I have enough work to keep you busy. I spent my entire childhood, I spent my childhood in a lumen pipe, lumen being a biofuel harvested from the ocean floor, monopolized by the cult of Hesh, and harvested by indentured labour, which is, you know, what we are indentured to be labouring at, so that's no fun. So I spent my childhood in a lumen pipe because of her, and now she's worth more money than either of us can count. Sorry, Kashio is a lady who makes watches, and she's more dangerous than either of us can figure. You go after her, and she'll clap back with a knife for each kidney. I may have extras to spare, but you've only got 2. I worked off a lifetime's debt in 10 years just so I get back here and settle the score. If you're my friend, you wouldn't be telling me to drop it. Oh, Hesh, that ain't what I meant. You know it ain't. I give you a roof, a bed, and at least one good meal a day. You live your life the way you want is yours. So again, this is really nice because you'll find out pretty soon that Shills, your money here, is it's a resource they have to manage, much like health and health here, and resolve, which is health for arguments, basically. That's your negotiating health. But yeah, shills, the money, it's a resource you have to manage quite a bit. You know, it can get you out of scrapes and help you out, and whatever. It's an important resource. So the idea that the story is actually just like, oh yeah, don't worry about living. That's fine. That's covered, okay? Your money is for the job. Or in other words, the game. I like that. It's a nice way just to get that out of mind. So, anyway, I'll pay you back. I know. Let's get you to work. So, let's get work from Fish. I got people in my pocket who owe me a favour. Alan, who's a civilian wealthy merchant. Gura, who's a civilian heavy labourer. And Cambury, who's an Admiralty patrol leader. They're easy people to find. So, what's nice is these initial 3 quests. They seem to be from different people every time, which is nice. I really like that. So there is sort of random generation, and that's something I really appreciate in a lot of games these days. Is the overall arcing storyline is structured and, you know, intriguing, and they've made sure that it's been fine-tuned and all the rest of it. But then the stuff in between is different every time, so it gives you that sense of, you know, mystery each time you start a new campaign. Every time you start a new run, as it were. Like, it doesn't have to be completely random to have replay, have replay value. So it's that nice balance of replay value by having stuff random, but also it's a structured story that is, it makes sense, and it's, telling a compelling narrative. So I like that trend. So obviously we can't entirely tell how good this game is at doing that, but in concept, it's a great concept. So tell them I sent you, and they can settle their tabs by giving you work. Get that done, and I'll get you a plate of popped Oshnu eyes on the house. Oshnu being a domesticated giant snail, used for food, transport, and entertainment. Hopefully the entertainment is snail racing or something, rather than anything a bit more sordid. Bless your warty hide, Fish. I'll hold you to that. I will hold you to your warty hide. And now we're on the world map. So here's a world map. There's the Grog and Dog, which is, Fish's bar, which is nice. Also, we can do a few different missions. So the difficulty is obviously an obvious thing, You know what difficulty is. The more difficult something is, the harder it is to do. That's not an insane concept, but also tells you the focus. So I like this about this game, because, like I said, there's the battle and negotiation. So here, you got focus, battle, we'll have to fight someone. Here, focus, battle, and negotiation, so we'll have to fight someone and or convince them of something. And this one, just negotiation. So it gives you a nice spread as well. Also gives you your rewards at the bottom, which is lovely, and a little blurb of what to do. So Gura is hoping to get Yibbit fired so his friend can take over. Gura just needs your help making it happen. So that's trying to get someone fired, which is a bit mean, I think. That seems a bit cruel. Over here, Cambury is looking for business partner amongst the spree. And this one, Alan is trying to track down some stolen goods and needs you to track down some leads. I think Alan was the Admiralty guy, was he? I've already forgotten. I have a terrible mind for names. Just shocking. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do this one just because it's battle and negotiation. So we're going to do the business partner one among the spree, which is nice because I don't really know anything about the spree, so it'd be nice to learn about them anyway. So starting bonus, we get to pick a card to help on the quest, and then we can upgrade a card once we finish it, along with getting some cash out of it. So random encounter. You come across a lone merchant, a rare sight on Havarian roads. Usually they're smart enough to travel with armed security. Hey stranger, nice day, isn't it? Tact here, a civilian wealthy merchant. Taxed clothing is rich, and rich clothing has deep pockets. And the roads are deserted, except for you and your new friend. Also, can I just say, love how it describes things. The descriptions are superb. Love them. Because the connotation of, rich clothing has deep pockets. Very cool. So anyway, it could just say, the clothing is rich. She probably has a lot of money. Like, it would be boring, right? Or clothing is rich, so she probably is too. Like, it's just nice how it feels poetic. It rolls off the tongue. It gets the point across in a very sort of I don't know, sort of film noir kind of way, you know? It's all metaphor and whatever. It's great. I love it. So, the roads are deserted, except for you and your new friend. Say, you look like someone in need of an edge. I have some goods that might interest you. So we could buy a shuffle step, but we don't have that much money. We could rob her. She won't like us if we rob her. But now I'm sort of tempted to, because that would be hilarious. No, we're going to decline the offer, because I can't afford it. No, thanks. You're lost, young lady. Tack disappears around the bend, whistling as if the world were her music box. So, another thing. I've been saying one thing a lot, I think, today, but another thing that's really cool is that, like, every character, even ones that you fight, you can let live, right? So you can beat someone up and they'll surrender, but then they'll hate you. Or they might love you. It depends. I guess it depends on the circumstances. But you can end up sort of, like, winning people over, and at some point if you're in another fight, near the people that that like you, they might come to your aid, which is really cool. So the way you behave will actually have an impact. And because of the systems in place, it's kind of random who you bump into, where you're going to have fights, where you might be able to call on your friends. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's cleverly done. So let's continue on over here. You track down Cambury's quarters within the sprawling military complex. Cambury obviously being the Admiralty patrol leader. Obviously, I remembered that. I didn't forget that for a second. The place is crawling with Admiralty. It would be suicide to start a fight here. I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that? So Aloe here guards the location, as does this guy. And here's Cambury, who's a bystander, which is a weird way to describe him, but sure. Just resting here. He is neutral, so that's another thing that's rather nice. It'll actually say whether they like you or hate you or whatever. Also, he's got his quest available, so let's talk to him. So, what brings you back? What are you back? Never been here. Hey, do you want to make some money? I've got a great opportunity, but here's a hitch. I need a partner with a spree to pull it off. Pretty sure you're supposed to arrest the spree, not work with them. Exactly. I need some insulation from blowback if I'm going to make this work. So how about you be my proxy? Go talk to Blaine, who is a spree thief. At least he's not a spree killer. They'd be on a killing spree. Anyway, and convince him that this is a good deal he shouldn't refuse. Alright, let's go give him an offer he can't refuse. Yeah, let's do it. This sounds interesting. This sounds interesting. And because the Admiralty, to me, feel like, I don't know, the Empire, as far as I can tell, so far. Some sort of crooked authoritarian regime. Probably good to have them, owe us some favours, right? I suppose they're about to annex the place. So, hemorrhage. Apply 3 bleed, then deal damage equal to the target's bleed. That seems quite cool. That, apply 4 bleed, and it does more damage. Ooh, see, having this and this would be great, because you could do lacerate and then hemorrhage, and it would do a ton of damage. But, no, we don't have both of them, so we'll probably just go with this one. Although, apply 2 composure to a random argument. So, arguments are... God, it's hard to describe. But composure is basically armor for your... armor for negotiation, right? That's your armor for your negotiation phase, essentially. But let's do the... Let's get a battle card. Let's do the apply 4 bleed. That's handy. Go to Blaine, convince him that Dilly should refuse. Done. Done, mate. Yeah, consider it Dunyan rings. Delicious Dunyan rings. So, Cambury has a business proposition for Blaine. Convince Blaine that it's their best interest to agree. We didn't really get told what the opportunity was, or what we're trying to convince him of, but I guess we'll find out. So you approach the meager bandit camp. Blaine doesn't look too concerned as you approach. Apparently, Blaine once dreamed of being a monster hunter, so his life satisfaction is undoubtedly not high. Another day of the feud, Let's present Cambury's offer. So here you can see our health there. At the top is the resolve and his resolve, so you can see how difficult a fight he's going to be. Except it's not a fight, it's a conversation. I'm sent to recruit you for an enticing venture. It's secretive, but profitable. Don't be cute, Hunter. What's the job? Alright, I'll give it to you straight. Fight! So, here, that's us. That's them. So, it's, the core argument. The core argument is, us saying, come work for that guy. His is, I don't wanna. But, anyway, so you destroy the core argument, you win. It's that simple. So here, you can see the intent, which is his attacks, right? So he means to do 3 damage and 1 damage. Those are the 2 cards he's playing, essentially. So you can see 3 and 1 above our card, so we know what he's going to do, which means you can prepare by putting up your composure, which is your armor. We start with 1, right? Every turn we get 1. That's just something that Sal does. So we'll be getting 1 per turn. But we need to avoid another 3 to avoid taking any damage. I'd rather not take any damage if I don't have to, so I'm going to apply 3 more composure. So there we go. Now we can get to convincing him of things without his arguments breaking through our composure. So a nice way to translate a mechanic, you know, sort of a card battling system to be about having a conversation with someone. And that I love. I love that because a lot of these games make no sense where you're just murdering everyone. It's very silly. So being able to just, you know, talk to people, I think it makes a lot of sense. And it's especially nice to have that wrapped up in a gameplay mechanic rather than wrapped up in a, oh, you have some stat in a menu somewhere that is your, like, charisma or speech skill. We'll roll a dice for you to convince them. That's boring. This is much better. So, Sal's Instinct. Insert inspiration or attitude into your hand. Let's do that, because I want one of these cards. So you can see here, inspiration gives 2 influence, which is jolly handy. So, influence, as you can see, it tells you what it is on in the little tooltip there. All diplomacy cards deal maximum damage if we have influence, and influence is an argument with 2 resolve. So I want to show you what that is. So now, the top left is the cost of the card. Action points are down the bottom. We have 1 action left. So we're going to gain, so we're going to attack him, because you can see the top is the damage, so we're going to do 2 damage to him, right, without inspiration. And it's going to give us some influence. Okay, so we have influence over the guy now, which basically just means that all of these cards, because these green ones are diplomacy cards, the green ones, because you can argue or be diplomatic, either way you're convincing them, right? So this will do maximum damage while we have this active, and it'll basically disappear over time. Or you can see it has 2 resolve, resolve being its health. Okay, so that's the health of the argument. So he can actually break down the argument to stop you from having that as a way to undermine his argument. So it's a really elegant system that really does turn an actual conversation, actual debate, into something that graphically, you know, is graphically represented while making sense, which is rather remarkable. So, very impressed by that. Very impressed by that. So anyway, we've done some damage to him. Quite a bit. He's not doing so hot. And here he wasn't able to break through our composure, so we are completely unfazed by his counter-argument. So now, you can see he's actually targeting our argument to try and get rid of our resolve. So, that's going to take 2 damage to get rid of. He's going to do 4 damage. Also, there's this thing, which is a mystery. He's deploying an argument against us, but we don't know what it's going to be. So, we can't prepare for it. Not really. So, I'm actually going to put some composure on my argument. And then we're going to fast talk, do an extra 3 damage. And then... God, that costs 3 to use, huh? I haven't seen this card before. So Menacing Air, at the beginning of your turn, gain 1 Dominance. And Expend means that it gets removed. It doesn't cycle back through your cards, basically. Okay, Dominance. Hostility cards gain additional 1 damage. And it removes 1 stack at the start of your turn. Okay, so these ones, these red ones, would do an additional damage for every Dominance we have. Which makes sense, because if you're dominating someone, you'll be able to threaten them more, right? So, again, nice, elegant way to sort of represent sort of any sort of discourse like this. It's great. So, come at me, bro. You expect me to believe that? Yeah, I do. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Improvise a card. I always like doing this because I never know what I'm going to get. Observation. So it'll go. All these cards will disappear when we use them. As you can see from the expend. Apply 3 composure, draw 2 cards. That does 4 damage. I'm going to use this one, I think. 0 to 4 damage, but as you can see, we have influence, right? So 0 to 4 seems a bit risky, might not do great, but because we have composure, we know that we're going to hit him for the full amount. So that's what makes it really handy. And let's just finish him off. So there we go. No need to put on any composure. Sorted. So, pick a negotiation card. I can do that. Draw 3 cards, gain 2 vulnerability, which is all resolve loss is increased by 1. Remove 1 stack at the start of your turn. Okay, so vulnerability, that means that they do +1 damage, but I guess because its resolve loss is increased, it means that I guess it isn't just if they're attacking you, it's if you've got some other effect that lowers your resolve, which, as you remember, is your health for negotiation. That's your health bar, basically. It's the 30 out of 30 up here. So that's interesting. But we do +2 damage this turn. So that's quite handy. Double composure on all arguments. That's pretty cool too. So that means that he can't break down our arguments as easily. We'll go with that one. I think keep cool sounds quite useful. So you can see why the officer wants to keep it quiet. Sounds like Cambry has more to lose than I do. This goes south. You could tell Cambry that I want to meet. Discreetly, of course. If he doesn't like that, well, too bad. You can find another stooge. He won't like it, but I'll pass it on. Alright, so bye, Blaine. Okay, let's go back to Cambury. I was about to say Cadbury. Hello, Cadbury. So you track down Cambury's quarters within the sprawling military complex. The place is crawling with admiralty. It should be. It'll be suicide to start a fight here. Okay. Hello again. Makes sense now that he's saying hello again, now that we're actually meeting him again. So tell Cambury the deal is done. So the good news is, Blaine is very interested. He just wants a meeting to make it official. What? I heard you so that I wouldn't have to meet him. Ah, but it is what it is, I guess. So let's go. Your job was to be my proxy, so I'll keep you proximate. Ugh, you'd say that. Want to get paid, don't you? Then let's go. What a jerk. Alright, let's do it. Ah, but he's paying us, I guess. I just know this is going to go south. But I guess it's not his fault that I know it's going to go south. I know it's going to go south because the tooltip said that there would be battle and negotiation. We've already done the negotiation. That's called ambush site, which doesn't bode well, does it? You enter the meeting site. Cambry looks around nervously, jumping at every shadow. So this is the place, huh? Where's Blaine? Blaine shows up alone. Alright, I'm here, so if you're on the level, let's talk. Well, the two discuss their common ground and unconvincingly promise to never stab each other in the back. You wait for things to get interesting, but they remain oblivious to your boredom. Thanks for the offer, but I'm going to say no. It's too risky. So you feel that way. It's not profit without a little risk. Sal, clean up here. We can't afford the loose end. Wait, Grifter, don't be so hasty. I'll pay more for the protection. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Okay, are we going to attack? This is a very clever way to screw us over here. Because obviously we're not going to get paid if we like Cambry's not going to pay us if we don't do what he asks, right? But would Blaine here pay us to stop it? He's a patrol leader. Ooh, now this is super interesting because I think this is the biggest problem I've had right now because I'm going to have to fight one of them. And so Cambry wants me to kill Blaine. I can't just fight him and then have him surrender because Cambry wants him dead. Okay, he's a loose end. Whereas if I try and defend Blaine and fight Cambry, I'm still probably going to have to kill him because he's a patrol leader. He can send his patrol to come kill me, right? He has backup. So either way, I might have to murder someone out in the wasteland on our first mission, which is not ideal. It's really not ideal. Also, Fish might not like it if I'm killing her clientele, which is awkward. It looks like Blaine is an easier fight, so... Oh, this feels so corrupt, but hopefully Cambry will owe me a favor. I'm gonna attack Blaine. I'm gonna attack Blaine. Sorry, Blaine, but it's my reputation that pays the bills. Blaine dislikes you. Oh, really? Does he? Does he now? Who would have guessed that? So I'm going to attack for 4 damage, you can see. So, similar sort of vibe to the negotiations, but it's a bit more classic, sort of JRPG looking thing, as you can tell. So we're going to get damaged. We're going to get damaged. I don't want to get damaged. So, let's apply 4 defense. Done. So now, we can see the bottom, we have 4 defense. So we're going to negate 4 damage. Easy. It does say that a status effect will also be applied, which means he's probably going to try and affect me bleed or something, which is annoying. So let's elbow, strike him, and then stab him. And that's about all we got. So let's see what happens. So he's just increased his power. We just got pinned, which is interesting. Play this card to return Lacerate to your hand. What happened here then? Oh, so I think this might have... I think pinned. I think this may have actually just taken a card from us. Because we've been pinned, we have fewer options of how we retaliate, right? So that's really clever. That's a really cool system. I haven't seen this card before. So, cool. So we can't use Lacerate yet, because we need to use that other card before we get that other card that they've had hostage. So he's going to attack us quite heavily. He's going to do 9 damage. So, yeah, this patrol leader, I'm kind of glad I'm not fighting him, frankly. So, ooh, you know what? I was going to play defensively while he's attacking me. Screw it. And I'll stab him, I guess. Or, you know what? I'm going to get one of these cards. So, we've got Hammer Grip, deal 2 bonus damage. If you have any combo, we have no combo. And this one, Saber Grip, applies 2 bleed. So, I'm going to apply bleed to him. So, you know, 2 can play the status effect game. So now he's bleeding, so he's going to take damage each turn. So that's nice. Except the bleed count will go down. So, oh, and his damage equal to the bleed. So that's quite cool. Right, that'll do. Stab. He's trying to impale me. How rude. So here, if you look, see that white line? This little white bit of their health bar? If you get them down to that, you can ask for them to surrender, basically. Well, it's not that you can ask them, it's just you can accept their surrender if you get them down to that white bit. But your teammates are going to attack regardless. So if our teammate here, Patrol Leader Cambery, had an attack, you know, lined up that I knew would kill this guy, then it might be a race to try and do enough damage to be able to make him surrender. Or maybe I do nothing, so this guy can hit, you know, get that last hit in enough to make him surrender. So you've got to kind of time it right if you want to spare them. But this guy I think we need to kill, sadly, which is not something I'm happy about, but ah dear. Oh, okay, no, we can surrender. We can surrender. So panic stacks. Not sure why. You can choose to win the battle if all enemies panic. Ah, I see. I hadn't realised that. That's really clever. So if we're fighting more than one opponent, we need them all to surrender for us to be able to win by surrender. So essentially, if one person doesn't panic, then the other guys may come back and continue fighting you for a bit, which is really clever. That's a really cool system. So we're going to accept the surrender. Also, we get a card, Execute, at this point. Not going to do that, though. I'm going to accept the surrender. Hopefully we won't have to kill him. So, pick a battle card. Switchblade, add a copy of this card to your discard. Ah, spend 2 combo, draw a card. Interesting. So that means it'll keep turning up. Sneak attack seems crazy. 6 to 12 damage. Wow. It says spend 2 combo. Does that mean that we need to have combo to use this? I wonder. God, that costs nothing though. So the longer the battle goes on, the more useful Switchblade is, because that goes back into your hand, but with a copy. So suddenly you have like double the chance of drawing that card from your discard pile again. Once you've gone through your hand, like once you've gone through your deck, and so that means you're going to have free bunches of 2 cards each time you use this. You're going to get more, right? So I'm going to go with Switchblade because I just think it's really interesting if we can just spam that a huge amount. Although it does spend combo, which will probably be useful to get later. You know, sneak attack just does so much damage. I'm going to take that. Screw it. Well, that didn't turn out the way I wanted, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Speaking of which, take your blood money, Hunter. Thanks, I will. Okay, so that guy survived. Cambery likes us. He's now left the party. Are you going to say anything about Blaine? No, I got paid 50 shills. Yeah, right. And now we get to choose a card to upgrade. I am going to upgrade a negotiation card. So here you can see these little upgrade progress things. Basically, if you use this card that many times, you can then upgrade it, and it sort of mutates the card. You get a couple of options, so it could be like, I don't know, apply twice as much composure, but, you know, I don't know, take a bleed or something. Or it could just be gain a little bit less composure than the other card, but at no downside or something. You sort of get some options, which is nice. I rather like it. So I'm going to upgrade, I don't know, fast talk. So like this, basically. So this one, it either lets you gain an influence or 3 composure. So that lets us do the same attack, essentially, the 1 to 3 damage, but we also gain 3 armor. But this one gives us influence, which means our later negotiation, our other diplomacy cards will then do max damage, which I think is kind of cool. But this means we can attack and defend with 1 card, which seems useful. These both seem very useful. This is more offensive, and this is more defensive. I'm going to go with the offensive one for that. So, good stuff. Job well done. Okay, so here you can see there are a few sort of time-limited things for us to do before we then do more quests, of which there are more quests. So, limited time opportunity. I think that'll give us some health. Yeah, it's a healing spot. Healing spring. We have max health. So this one is... This opportunity will disappear if you don't get to it straight away. A recent fight took place here. Perhaps there's still some treasure. Hey, perhaps there is. Let's find out. You come across these signs of a recent battle. If there were any winners, they weren't the type to loot the battlefield. The bodies are still fresh. Best to grab something, then run before any beasts are drawn to the bloodshed. So we get a Vial of Slurry, which is a card that gets destroyed after we use it once. Gains us an action. Costs nothing to use. Vrock Whistle summons a Vrock to fight for you. A Vrock is a dog thing, I believe. I believe that was the dog thing that I found in my little test chapter that I played. I played up to the first boss, by the way, if I hadn't mentioned that already. And then I played this one. Yeah, start again. So, pull Lightning Rod at the start of each negotiation. Insert a Conductor card into your hand that redirects enemy intents. Huh. And this doesn't... Oh, wait. Yeah, it's expend, but not destroy. So this will be able to keep. Force all enemy intents and arguments to target a specific argument this turn. That's very strange. It's got Lightning Rod. Because it's a graft. I see. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get a graft. There we go, that's been installed. So, permanent upgrade rather than just a one-time card. I like the sound of that. You wrestle with the loot lodged in the mud, even as a mournful howl cuts across the air. It isn't long before you're joined by the pack. Defend yourself. Oh, we've got to fight them, do we? Oh, no. Well, that's no good. Well, guys, I mean, I don't want to have to fight a dog. Or 2 dogs. One that spits, one that wilds. But we're going to have to, by the looks of it. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, be sure to stay tuned for the next episode tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I'm ending the episode, and there's nothing you can do about it. So guys, comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.